Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another exciting installment of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Now, where we find ourselves at the Septon Green, Shinlo has been preparing uh, with a side of salmon and strips of steak, and he's been feeding his Stargazer brothers. But he has left a big bowl for his alpha, and basically he has told his brothers to, you know, kind of give them some space a little bit because he got to talk to his. He may have to ask his alpha some questions before he leave about some stuff. So that's where we begin. He has his little tea table set and the meal ready for him when Eric comes by, and he will see it, and Shinlo will just be right there waiting with his eyes closed.
Mhm. It won't be too long before Eric shows up. Eric has been known to do patrols per the warder's call and how just the other day. And just for clarification, Eric isn't Alpha anymore. He officially passed that along to Felix, but he still is currently part of the pack
Yeah.
until he leaves. But either way, it does.
Hmm.
It's just a small clarification. But
Yeah.
either way, Eric arrives and um, seats himself at the table, already familiar with the customs of eating of the stargazers, um, and kind of waits for Shinlo to do his prayer before they eat.
Shinlo will bow, and basically he'll say, "Thank you, Heavenly Emerald Mother, for this bountiful meal that we are about to share amongst brothers and sisters of the Sept. And as we dine and partake of this meal and enrich our souls and our mind, we shall be always giving thanks that we are brothers and sisters, except and that unity and balance will be preserved these hard and troubling times. Thank you, Emerald Mother, and may your sister Luna's light gaze upon thee." And he'll bow.
Eric bows and says thank you. I just heard a few stories that you put out.
Hmm. Well, let's just say a lot of people is not probably going to be happy once story, them two stories catch the winds.
Hmm. Interesting that you chose those two, but truth be told, you're not wrong.
The reasoning for the story, I'll start with the first one. We say, I'll just say we, because some of us don't do it, some of us do, but since we're all together, we all take the blame. Um, we say we look after the Kim folks, we say we do anything for the Kim folks, but day when that was a massacre of 17 to almost 20 people being, of the Kim folks being slain. And we say that we spend time with Kim folks, but do we really do that? I know some of us may do that, but do others do that? Because folks, of the thing is, we have gotten the Kim folks' hopes up, saying that we are great protectors. I've been to blame to this, and many others been to blame for this. We are their protectors, but we have gotten to the point where we have put ourselves to nigh omnipotent levels of thinking that we can protect them all. Thus, out we can't, the letdown is extremely devastating. If you understand what I'm talking about.
I know firsthand. I was the wormfo for a time. I worked alongside the warder, two warders. So when you speak of these things, they are not lost to me. I took punishment firsthand for calling them to the sept. I took punishment for not calling them off the sept soon enough. I know what happened. I know the mistakes that were made. And I do not shirk any part of the blame in that.
We all was to blame for it.
Perhaps. But I
When
suppose we'll endeavor to do better.
that is the only thing we can do at this point is get better and learn from the mistakes. Um, the second part of that story, the set, I basically mushed two stories together to make one. The first one, the second part of the story is when the Sept was attacked. I am a firm believer that yes, the spirits, it can aid us, they can help us when giving us abilities to be able to perform ex- more better than we do when we're protecting the Sept.
I loosely know the story. And I did know, though I did not know about Blitzkrieg going to set members asking for assistance. And truth be told, if Blitzkrieg was true to his tribe and true to his blood, he would have had no problem sacrificing himself for the better of the sept, even if he had to bear that burden alone.
And he did. He sacrificed himself at the end of everything.
So he has nothing to worry about. He is now dining in Valhalla, fighting every day, drinking every day, fucking every day, enjoying stories every day.
It it just seems like sometimes between me and you, we are packed. It just sometimes the set seems to contradict themselves at times.
Everybody's contradictory. That's just one basic flaw in all of us. Nobody's perfection, though. We put on one face and put on another for others. We say a thing to others and say another thing to somebody else. Some of us try, but you always lose count of it somewhere down the line.
It's understandable. Can I ask you a question?
Depends on what it is.
Was you at the set during the time of the Gleaming House incident?
Eric's face bemoans one of supreme agitation. His jaw sets and he kind of lurches forward and folds his arms over each other as he leans on the table. Yes, I was here. That is most of why I am leaving.
And Shinlo face you don't even have to pee in it. His face will kind of bend up a little bit. Like, what what do that have to do with you leaving?
A lot of Geta Fenris and Silverfangs died that came from Scandinavia because they came to claim another Silverfang of a different house because there was accusations of her house dealing with demons, I believe. So when they came to our sept, they tried to entreat us many times. Well, not many times, about twice. But they also sent assassins. And our warder at the time, after a very forceful coaxing by them, declared that we will not hand over Cinnamon Harris. I believe she was Adrin by the time she died. Adrian Holman Ragabash, also known as Defies Death. We were not to hand her over at the time. And as he was the ranking officer, military officer on the Sept, and also my tribal elder here, I gave myself into that responsibility to back him up and fight alongside him and the Sept. Because that's what you're supposed to do.
But
at least that's what I thought. So we had our war. We met on the field of battle. We all called in our respective families to come help us. The Trigvassons, Katori, Raya, called in spirits of the Sept, ancestor spirit. Well, spirits of the Sept of other Garo here. Travis Moran, I believe. Ren Brennan, Blitzkrieg, and the like. We all called in people to help, and after everything was said and done, we had won. But then after that, Scandinavia fell to the worm. A hellhole opened up and grew and grew and grew. It forced our kinfolk to evacuate Scandinavia, and it allowed the pure tribes to move in.
So, are you telling me that we called upon spirits? We called upon spirits to fight against Gaian creatures, our brothers and sisters in the nation, just because of one person? What value did she hold? Is that memorable? What a set fell because of that. What value did she hold? What did she contribute? Tell me, Eric, right? You're about to leave and go to a madhouse over there.
Eric lowers his head. He's visibly shaking. It's both shame and anger.
You you was forced to kill your brothers and sisters for one person.
Yes. And now that we are here and everything going on now, we were wrong. We should have turned her in. Even if that meant for me to do it by myself and risk being killed by the Sept. It would have been better than my homeland being turned over to the worm, allowing them to get a bigger foothold on Gaia, period. And now we have to force the problem that we helped create on others, specifically those putting forces there, like the Sept of the Silver Tara. And for all I know, from the Sept I came from, the Sept of the Marauding Hills, that was probably wiped out or claimed by the worm. But make no mistake, Shinlo, when you come to a Sept and you join it, you're taking an agreement to guard your brothers and sisters and look out for their best interest. It doesn't matter what the fuck the problem is. If you're going to stay here, that's what you agree to.
But that shouldn't risk your soul.
Everything is hindsight 2020.
What do you say?
Everything is hindsight. Everything is 2020 in hindsight. But all you can do is act on what you think you're doing best at the time, and that's what I thought I was doing. But now, I see that I was wrong. I should have risked everything, and that means my life, to hand her over.
You was just doing what a lord. You were just doing what the lower rank would have did at the time. It was the elders who should have thought better. The ones of rank that should have thought better. Should have thought the situation more thoroughly. At the end of the day, the leadership of the Sept was at fault. And when the leadership of the Sept is at fault, everyone is at fault. Almost by default. We we basically annihilated.
He throws his hand out, smashing it into the middle of the table, disrupting everything. Probably putting a decent crack in the table as he does so with 4 strength. I'm going to take care of it, Shinlo. I'm going to set things right. As one of the few remaining on the Sept, I see that as my duty and my responsibility, especially to the blood that's been spilt from my own hands. I'm surprised Fenris doesn't come and claim me and swallow me whole for what I've done. It's easy to pass the blame off to the elders. It's easy to pass the blame off to anybody else, but I should have known better. I'm gonna get a fucking Fenris. It's my duty to stand in and take the blame or the hit when it needs to be done. Rank be damned. Because that's what we do. We're fucking leaders. We're not followers. Sometimes we have to have the fucking balls to make the hard decisions. And then take the axe when it falls upon our neck. And Eric lets off a very deep, bellowing sigh. It's almost as if he's blowing out fire from his chest. Sorry about your fucking table.
Nah, you're okay. Now I know the reason why you're leaving. And now I have a clearer idea what you have to do.
This is why I'm not bringing you guys with me. This is why I have to leave the set. It's not for any of you guys to take responsibility for that or what may befall upon me. Because like I told Felix, even if it's something that leads to my death, I'm going to accept it. I'm walking into Tara, the Sept of the Silver Tara. I'm going to be the face, the physical manifestation of why they're doing what they're doing right now, walking into their Sept. That is the penance I have to pay.
And no one here is willing to be beside you and take the punishment.
I don't want you guys there. I don't want you guys there. You guys have nothing to do with that. Most of you all here, I'm one of the oldest people here, Shinlo, as far as seniority, tenure, alongside Chloe Raya. We're like the oldest people here. I've seen people come and go, die. New ones come in, die. She's probably the only one left that remembers what happened. She was right there. We were in the same pack.
Willing to follow you to the gates.
It's not for her to do so. I'm the one that feels ways about this. I'm a get offenders. I know better.
So you telling me that I have to lose, that me and Felix, the urban vigil, have to lose our alpha?
I'm not your alpha no more. I'm not your alpha no more, Shinlo.
Shinlo gained a point of rage.
That's cool. Eric's sitting at 6, so it's all good.
So he's like, so you're telling me you're just gonna use the good old pride line on me, huh? The good old pride line. Because of this happened, because you was forced to do something. Cleaves have no choice but to.
No one's forced to do anything, Shinlo. We all can make a choice. We just have to live with the consequences. And I should have been the one there to accept the consequences. I was a major component of my homeland falling. My homeland. And it's not even really punishment. but I'm not stupid either. They're gonna notice that. They're gonna know who I am.
Stories travel far.
Exactly. And once they realize who I am, in case anything does happen, I don't want you guys there. I don't want anybody from the set there.
This is bullshit.
Like I told you, man, life's unfair.
Oh, that doesn't mean I don't have to like it. It can still be bullshit. It's bullshit. It's terrible. We did this. This literally contradict the story. That this literally goes hand to hand with the second story. The sacrifice is happening all over again. You're basically it's happened another time that again offenders have to sacrifice himself for the to make sure the prosperity and goodness of the sect is born.
I'm not.
I mean,
He raises his hands and shake it. I'm not sacrificing myself. And I'm not doing this for the Sept of the Green or its reputation. Make no mistake, Shinlo, I'm doing this because I'm being selfish. I see it as
at least
me
you're doing
rectifying a
it.
mistake that I made. I don't think anybody else should have to be able to endure that. And for the sake of the Sept, I don't think it should reflect on them either. As far as what I decide to do, that's why I'm leaving. That's why I'm leaving the Sept as a whole. That's why I stepped down as Wormfoe.
I just thought you got tired of people talking to you, and then he'll try to snicker, but then it'll kind of back to that face like, "Oh, I'm not really happy." Like,
You motherfuckers are annoying, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Everybody has their own wants and needs and opinions. It's very rough to balance. And I wish William White all the patience in the world because he's gonna need it.
well,
But he,
what do
but
you
he,
mean about?
he is the new Wormfoe, correct? Or going to be.
I thought Felix was. I mean, I to be honest with you, I have not been keeping up with the War Council. Like, I have not been keeping up with the War Council because it's been one of them things where it's just
Well, I don't think
hold on, hold on, hold on.
nobody's been officially named yet. But if I know anything, as long as he does well with this war, what you're doing now, there's nobody else better. He has the strength, he has the capability, he has the intelligence to do it.
What about Felix?
Felix has the intelligence and the ability to weigh decisions just as well. He knows how to be in the middle of everything. He usually is in the middle of everything. Nothing usually goes past him without him touching it in some way. And I know he knows how to put people for the right job to do it. But truth be told, the Wormfoe position is usually held by one of an Arun. And an Arun won in the duel, I believe. So that's how it's going to be. Tradition stands.
Afraid so.
It is what it is. I have no doubt that Felix's pride is hurt. Anybody who would have lost that duel would have been hurt. Their pride shattered. But it's not the end of the world. And we all have a job to do. That's what we need to focus on right now. As you said, we have Black Spiral dancers damn near piercing the heart of our sept, kinfolk dying. We have fucking spirals mocking us from outside of the sept, goading us into making the first move. Which might not be a bad idea, by the way, just saying, but either way. Listen to your war council elders. They're all smart. They all have experience. Wayne White, Hera's redeeming daughter, and Jacob. Sorry, Jacob, I forgot your team name. Anyways.
Falcon Shining Blade.
Oh, okay, thanks. That brings me to another point of fact, Shinlo. You said that you wanted to handle the politics of the sept for the pack, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a story, or at least not a story, but ask you a question that a crow asked me one time. If you and I were playing chess, what piece would you be? If you had to choose any piece, which would you think was more important? Which one would you want to be?
The queen. She moves around the board.
Naturally. She's one of the most powerful pieces. Truth be told, you don't want to be any of them. You want to be the one controlling them all. That's who you should want to be. You don't want to be on anybody's board if you can help it. And you want to be controlling them, those pieces. So just keep that in mind when you go forward doing what you're doing. I tried to keep that in mind when I was doing my thing. I'm a Geta Fenris. That shit's really hard to wrap my head around, but I tried. But I don't have a mind for politics. Maybe you do. So before you say things and before you do things or call people on their bullshit, just remember you are the one of the lowest ranking people here that's not a cub, and shit rolls downhill.
Well, I know. Well, I know I'm going to take some flack for my, my two stories I told. I'm ready for it.
You should never change the truth of a story. You should never feel guilty about that. But for blatant honesty and such, that's the Ragabash's turf. But for you, as a Galliard, you weave the tale. You can change it in any way, manner, way, in any which way you seem appropriate. You can weave people in and out of it. And you can say what you need to say through that. and you would be a lot safer for what you're trying to do here. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Politics is a very dangerous game, and it's filled with everything. You might as well say it's the bones of our nation, despite what other people may say. And you either need to be strong enough to endure the ire and the challenges that'll come your way, or be more smart and cunning to say what you gotta say and do what you need to do and not have anybody none the wiser. Your goal is to make people think and to believe. And ideas can't be killed, but you can.
Those are wise words.
I suppose. But I really want the best for you, Shenlo. I took you in, even though when I should have took a little bit more time to know you, but you had the heart, and you still do. You just need to make sure that you think about the things you do sometimes. Trust me, it's hard, I know. I'm a fucking Arun. I can barely say my ABCs without getting pissed and wanting to go fucking kill something. Hell, it's keeping me everything I got to not strike at you for what you were saying earlier.
That's understandable.
It's only it only hurts because it's the truth. It only pisses me off because there's no way around it. That is the power of stories.
You're right about that. Well,
Did you have any, did you have any more questions? Or are we gonna, finally eat this food even though I kind of fucked it all up?
it's probably going to be one of the last meals we share together.
Hmm. Well, waste not, want not, so you might as well clean it up, huh?
Yeah,
And he reaches forward, grabs a piece of steak with his hands, foregoing any kind of, etiquette, puts it in his mouth and just takes a big bite of it, and then takes his teacup and raises it forward towards Shinlo, pointing the cup at the ball, the little bit of fireball that he usually keeps.
Shinlo will raise up his cup and basically pour some fireball into both of them, and he'll say, "Pack mates and brothers for life."
Pack mates and brothers for life, he says with a full mouth. And he'll raise it a little bit higher in a cheerful manner, giving Shinlo a very wide and very endearing smile, and then chase down the steak with the tea mixed with fireball.
And Shinlo will do the same. And if there's anything else, I think that's where we'll end our scene.
Yep, I'm good.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another exciting installment of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.